There are no accidents. The very fact that your eyes landed on this message, that your heart is still beating as you hear these words, is proof that heaven has singled you out. You are not here by coincidence. You are here by divine appointment. See, when storms rose against you, when shadows tried to suffocate your light, when nights dragged on with no dawn in sight, you thought you were being punished. You thought you were being forgotten. But listen carefully. Those storms were not here to break you. They were the test, the hardest test of your life, and you passed. Yes, you passed when you chose to keep going, even when your knees buckled under the weight. You passed when you refused to let bitterness consume you, even when betrayal cut deeper than any sword. You passed when you whispered a broken prayer instead of giving up completely. The heavens watched, the angels leaned in. Even when you thought no one saw you cry, heaven counted every tear, each one becoming a testimony written in eternity. Right now, you may still feel fragile, uncertain, or even unworthy. But hear me clearly. If you are listening, it means the gates of heaven have recognized you as one who endured, one who persevered, one who did not fail. You have proven yourself in ways even you cannot fully comprehend. You are the chosen one, and God trusted you with the hardest test of all because He knew something about you that you didn't yet know about yourself, your strength, your resilience, your unshakable faith. And now, the next chapter begins. Before we step deeper into this divine revelation, I need you to pause for a moment and do something important. If these words are stirring something inside your spirit, don't walk away. Make sure you subscribe right now and join this family of light bearers. This channel is not just videos, it's a sanctuary, a place where the broken find hope, where the weary find strength, and where the chosen find confirmation of who they really are. By subscribing, you're not just clicking a button, you're aligning yourself with a movement, a fellowship, a community that believes you are destined for more. So take this step of faith. Subscribe, like this message, and share it with someone who needs it, because you never know. You might be the messenger heaven uses to lift another weary soul tonight. You know what it feels like to be overlooked, to sit in silence while your heart screams for answers that never seem to come, to wonder why the people you trusted turned away, why prayers seemed to echo back without reply, why the path you thought was straight suddenly twisted into a wilderness of confusion. But hear this clearly: what you went through was never meant to destroy you. It was preparation. Like gold placed in the fire, you were set in the furnace of trials, not to be consumed, but to be refined, purified, transformed into something unshakable. Every betrayal was a chiseling away of false attachments. Every delay was a stretching of your patience. Every lonely night was a molding of your spirit into resilience. You are not broken. You are forged. You are not abandoned. You are chosen. And understand this: the weight of your battles is proof of the magnitude of your calling. God does not waste pain. He does not allow suffering without birthing something greater on the other side. The tears, the silence, the wandering, they all held meaning beyond what you could see in the moment. This is why you are here, right now, listening. Not because this is just another video on your feed. No, this is a divine appointment. Heaven arranged for this very message to reach you, because what comes next in your journey requires clarity, courage, and confirmation. Lean in, listen closely. Your test has ended, and your revelation begins now. There are forces you cannot see, forces that worked tirelessly to convince you that you were forgotten. They whispered in the shadows of your mind, weaving lies in the stillness of night. You are alone, you are abandoned, you are unloved. And sometimes those lies felt louder than your prayers. Think back to the storms that raged around you, the financial struggle that left you wondering how you would survive, the betrayal that shattered your trust, the diagnosis, the rejection, the door slammed in your face when you thought the breakthrough was near. Each one felt like a wave meant to drown you, like an unseen hand trying to pull you under. This was not random, it was war. You were standing on a battlefield you could not see with your eyes, but you felt it in your spirit. The sleepless nights, the panic that rose without warning, the crushing weight on your chest that no doctor could explain. These were not ordinary struggles. They were weapons formed against you, aimed at your faith, your purpose, your very identity as one chosen by God. The enemy has always used the same tactic. From the beginning of time, he tries to convince the chosen that they are forgotten. Israel wandered for 40 years in the wilderness, not because God abandoned them, but because their faith was tested in the waiting. Job lost everything: his family, his health, his wealth, and his friends told him he was cursed. But Job was not cursed. He was being proven. So it was with you. Every betrayal that cut you was part of the hardest test. Every night you cried yourself to sleep was counted. In heaven's record, every unanswered prayer, every delay, every rejection was shaping you, even when it felt like punishment. The enemy wanted you to believe your story was over. He wanted you to believe you were overlooked, passed by, left behind. He wanted you to give up in the wilderness, to lay down your sword before the battle was won. But hear this: the very fact that you are here, listening right now, proves that the enemy failed. Yes, you felt the storm rage. Yes, you heard the whispers of doubt. Yes, the weight nearly crushed you, but you did not bow. You did not surrender. You did not quit. And in not quitting, you passed the hardest test of all. Because the true battle was never about the storm around you. It was about the faith within you. It was never about the delay. It was about whether you would still believe. It was never about the rejection. It was about whether you would still rise. It was never about the silence. It was about whether you would still trust. And you did. Even if your trust was broken, even if your faith was trembling, even if your prayers were whispered through tears, you kept going. That is why you are still here. So let this be clear. Your pain was real. Your struggle was real. The battlefield was real. But your victory, that is real too. And now the veil begins to lift, and you will see what those battles were preparing you for. You cried silently when no one noticed. You carried burdens that would have crushed others, but you told yourself to keep smiling, to keep moving, because you thought no one could understand the weight you bore. There were nights when your pillow soaked up tears no one else saw, days when you wore a mask of strength, but inside you were breaking. You showed up for others, even when no one showed up for you. You gave love, even when it wasn't returned. You gave your best, and yet it often felt like it was never enough. Terry, me. How many times did you sit in the quiet asking, God, do you hear me at all? How many times did you whisper, why me? Why this? Why now? How many times did you feel like giving up completely, like laying down and never rising again? And yet, look at you, still here, still breathing, still chosen. You thought the doubt disqualified you, but it didn't. You thought the fear made you weak, but it didn't. You thought the silence meant God had abandoned you, but he hadn't. The truth is, you were seen the entire time. Every shaky step you took, heaven saw. Every night you fell asleep, wondering if you'd have strength for tomorrow. Heaven was watching. Every time you almost gave up, angels were stationed to hold you up just enough to take one more step. And that's what you did. You kept stepping. Others might have crumbled under the weight you carried, but you endured. Others might have turned bitter from the betrayal you faced, but you kept a flicker of light alive. Others might have quit praying after years of silence, but you whispered prayers anyway, even when they were broken, even when they were desperate, even when they were laced with doubt. Don't you see? That was never weakness. That was strength. That was resilience. That was proof that you were chosen for something far greater than the pain you endured. I know it hurt. I know there were times when the loneliness felt unbearable, when the rejection cut deeper than any knife, when the uncertainty made you feel like you were walking blindfolded through a storm. I know the weight of disappointment, when doors kept slamming shut in your face, when people you trusted turned their backs, when prayers seemed to hang unanswered in the air. But through it all, you survived. You survived nights that told you you won't make it to morning. You survived days that told you you are not enough. You survived thoughts that tried to convince you to give up. And the beautiful, undeniable truth is this: the fact that you are still here is the loudest testimony of all. You may not see it yet, but your survival is proof of your strength, proof of your calling, proof that what was meant to destroy you could not destroy you. So let this sink in. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are not abandoned. You are seen. You are loved. You are chosen. And though the struggles tried to silence you, your very breath is heaven's evidence that your story is not over. You passed the test, not because you never wavered, but because you never surrendered. What looked like defeat was heaven's hidden victory. What looked like abandonment was divine strategy. What looked like the end was only the beginning. You see, God has always worked in ways that human eyes cannot easily understand. What appears as loss in the natural is often gain in the spiritual. What feels like delay is often protection. What feels like silence is often preparation. Think of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, forgotten in a prison. From the outside, his story looked like tragedy stacked upon tragedy. If you saw him in the dungeon, you would have sworn his dream was dead, and yet every step was leading him closer to the palace. Without the pit, there would be no throne. Without the prison, there would be no crown. Or consider David, overlooked by his own father when Samuel came to anoint a king, rejected, dismissed, told he was unworthy. Yet while the world ignored him, God was preparing him. Out in the fields, hidden away, he was learning to fight lions and bears, so that when the giant appeared, he was already ready. The rejection was not a curse, it was training. And what about Jesus himself? Before the miracles, before the teaching, before the cross, there was the wilderness, 40 days of hunger, of temptation, of silence. The Son of God himself was tested, stretched, pressed beyond measure. The wilderness was not punishment. It was proving ground. It was preparation for the ministry that would shake eternity. And so it was with you. The storm you faced was not the grave. It was the womb. The darkness that surrounded you was not the end. It was the soil from which new life was being birthed. You thought you were buried, but you were being planted. And now the season of growth begins. Every tear watered the soil of your destiny. Every closed door redirected your steps toward the right path. Every lonely night drew you closer to the one who never leaves or forsakes you. You didn't fail. You passed the test. And because you passed, heaven has now marked you for greater. You are qualified, not by man's approval, not by outward success, but by endurance, by faith, by the resilience that refused to quit. Do you feel the weight of that? The trials you endured were not wasted. They became the evidence that you are ready for the next divine assignment. When Joseph rose to power, he could look back and say, "What you meant for evil, God meant for good." That will be your testimony too. When David became king, the very people who overlooked him had to acknowledge the anointing they had ignored. That will be your story too. And when Jesus emerged from the wilderness, filled with power and authority, his ministry shook the world. That will be your outcome too. This is your revelation. The storm did not come to destroy you. It came to reveal you. The battle did not come to break you. It came to awaken you. The test did not come to disqualify you. It came to prove you. You are not the same person you were before the trial began. You are wiser. You are stronger. You are purer. You are prepared. And heaven has taken notice. You are stepping into a season where what was hidden will be revealed, where the wounds you carried will become the very places of healing for others, where the faith you forged in the fire will become the torch you hold for those still walking in the dark. This is bigger than you. Your survival was never just about you. It was about the countless others who will find hope through your story. So stand tall, breathe deeply, lift your head. The test is behind you. The preparation is complete, and the time has come. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are appointed. And the heavens are opening to release you into your destiny. The night is ending. The longest, darkest season of your life is giving way to a sunrise you thought might never come. Look, Can you see it? The first rays breaking over the horizon, warm light pushing back the shadows that once surrounded you. This is your resurrection moment. The chains that bound you are snapping, one by one. The weight that once pressed against your chest is lifting. The storm winds that once beat you down are now the very winds lifting you higher, like an eagle spreading its wings. What once tried to bury you is now the foundation you will stand on. You are not who you were before. The fire has burned away what was weak. The storm has stripped away what was false. What remains is unshakable, undeniable strength. Can you feel it? That new power in your spirit, that quiet certainty in your heart. It's the strength of someone who has walked through the valley of the shadow and lived to tell the story. It's the wisdom of someone who has faced the night and carried their faith into the morning. This is the transformation. You are no longer just a survivor. You are a warrior. You are no longer just enduring. You are advancing. You are no longer just chosen. You are ready. Think of the seed buried underground. For a season, it looks lifeless, forgotten. But deep in the soil, something unseen is happening. Roots are growing. Life is stirring. And when the time is right, it breaks through the surface, stretching toward the light. That is you. You were buried, but you were not dead. You were hidden, but you were not gone. And now, you are breaking through. Every scar you carry is no longer a mark of defeat. It's a seal of victory. Every tear you cried is no longer wasted. It has watered the ground of your destiny. Every rejection that stung is no longer shame. It's proof that you were set apart. This is not just recovery. This is rebirth. Like Lazarus stepping out of the tomb, you are rising. Like Daniel walking out of the lion's den, you are stepping forward untouched. Like the 3 Hebrews in the fire, you are emerging without even the smell of smoke. Your breakthrough is not distant. It's here. It's happening now. Even as these words echo in your heart, you are standing at the threshold of a new chapter. A chapter marked not by fear, but by courage. Not by confusion, but by clarity. Not by weakness, but by strength. Lift your head, straighten your shoulders, take a deep breath. This is the moment you realize you made it. You endured, you overcame, you passed the hardest test, and now you are stepping into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. This is your transformation. This is your resurrection. This is your time. You were tested and you triumphed. You were wounded, but not destroyed. You were crushed, but not broken. Every blow that came against you failed to take you out. Every shadow that tried to smother you only proved how brightly your light was meant to shine. Every setback, every betrayal, every closed door, none of it had the final say. You are still here, still standing, still chosen. Listen closely. God trusted you with this test because He knew only you could carry it. Not because you were weak, but because you were stronger than you realized. Strong enough to endure, strong enough to rise, strong enough to carry the weight of a greater calling. This is your declaration. What tried to bury me will now elevate me. What tried to silence me will now amplify me. What tried to destroy me will now display the glory within me. Say it with me. I am not defeated. I am not forgotten. I am not abandoned. I am chosen. I am called. I am rising. Let these words sink deep into your spirit. You survived the fire because you were meant to carry the flame. You endured the storm because you were meant to command the winds. You walked through the night because you were destined to announce the dawn. Repeat it until it shakes the doubt from your bones. I was tested and I triumphed. I was wounded but not destroyed. I was crushed but not broken. This is not just survival, it's victory. This is not just recovery, it's destiny. This is not just endurance, it's proof that you were born for more. Lift your head, declare it boldly. Your story is not ending in defeat. It is rising in power, in glory, in divine fulfillment. You are the victory. You are the proof. You are the living testimony. Inspiration without application fades like smoke. But when you take what heaven whispers and weave it into your daily rhythm, it becomes unshakable strength. Your faith is not only a fire in the heart, but a lamp for for your daily path. So let's bring it down to where you live. Simple steps, powerful shifts. Step 1. Daily prayer of gratitude. Every morning, before you touch your phone, before the world's noise floods in, pause and whisper, "Thank you." Thank Him for breath in your lungs, for another sunrise, for the unseen mercies that carried you through the night. Gratitude changes perspective. It turns what you have into enough and what you survived into victory fuel. Step 2. Journal your faith victories. Write them down. Every closed door that later made sense, every storm you thought would crush you, but didn't. When doubt comes again, and it will, you'll have a record. Proof that God has never left you. Your own handwriting will testify, "I've been here before, and I made it through." Step 3. Choose forgiveness over bitterness. Forgiveness is not weakness, it's warfare. Every time you release someone, you break a chain that was trying to bind you. Forgiveness frees you to move forward without carrying yesterday's poison. Remember, bitterness keeps you stuck, but forgiveness opens the path to destiny. Step 4. Trust the unseen plan with patience. Waiting is not wasted when you understand its preparation. The seed doesn't grow the moment it's planted. It takes time hidden in the soil before it breaks through. So does your destiny. Trust the process. Trust the delay. Trust the unseen hand arranging your steps. These aren't just habits, they're weapons. They keep your spirit sharp, your vision clear, and your heart aligned with heaven. So as you rise from this message, remember, faith is more than a feeling. It's a practice. Walk it out. Live it daily, step by step, prayer by prayer, choice by choice. You are shaping the future God promised. You have walked with me through the valley of your trials. You have revisited the shadows, the storms, the lonely nights where you wondered if God had forgotten you. And together, we've seen the truth. None of it was wasted. None of it was random. It was the hardest test, and you passed. Your pain was not punishment. It was preparation. Your tears were not in vain. They were watering the very soil of your destiny. Your silence, your endurance, your faith held in trembling hands. All of it became the proof that you are chosen. And now, you stand on the other side, not broken, but built, not crushed, but crowned, not forgotten, but called. You are living evidence that storms don't last forever. The chosen always rise. Let that sink in. You survived what was designed to destroy you. You endured what the enemy hoped would erase you. And here you are, stronger, wiser, standing taller in spirit than ever before. That is victory. That is proof. That is your testimony. But the journey doesn't end here. It begins here. Because now you know you are chosen. Now you know heaven trusted you with this hardest test. The question is, what will you do with this new strength? Will you carry it as a secret, or will you let it shine as a beacon for others who are still walking through their storm? If this message stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share your testimony in the comments. Your words might be the lifeline someone else needs tonight. Like this video so the message of hope reaches more souls. And if you haven't already, subscribe and join this community of light bearers. Because you don't have to walk this path alone. You are chosen, you are seen, you are loved, and your story is not over. It's only just beginning. Now rise, walk forward in faith. Carry your crown with courage. For storms may come, but the chosen always rise.